Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Just a quick note, I'm going to be using the teleprompter for this whole video here. Unfortunately, while I've been practicing and rehearsing, I'm fearing sounds like I'm just reading pages long boxed text, but I need to get the wording right and I can't forget any of the bits, so yeah, sorry. So, yeah, let's get this shit on the road. Okay. Hi. Yeah. I fear I'm going to destroy my company by making this video, but some things are more important than a career. DriveThruRPG is such an important storefront that if you're an RPG publisher of any size, sales through DriveThruRPG, it's going to generate a significant income for your business. If you're a publisher of any size, that's a serious amount of money every month. If you're a small publisher, of course, any income source is a significant one. Me, I make enough money from selling on DriveThru every month that at minimum, even during the worst month's performance, that one sales source is paying my rent. And that's even after accounting for all the royalties that need to be taken out, you know, for the different creators involved in the releases. It's the most reliable income source that I have. And, you know, it may swing significantly upwards now and again, but never below the level where it's paying my rent. I depend on DriveThruRPG's platform for my survival. That's what's at stake for me here, and maybe a number of other publishers that use DriveThruRPG's storefront. And that's what I expect to lose by making this video. But it must be done because what they are doing is both creatively limiting and morally bankrupt. DriveThruRPG is abusing their position in the RPG industry. And to me, in this whole thing, there are two important questions. Number one, are you allowed to create freely? Are you allowed to utilize your own imagination to create things that you find interesting and that you hope other people will find interesting as well? Okay, two questions in one there. The actual question number two. Are you allowed to be honest about how some of the most powerful people in the RPG industry are treating you? And the answer to both of those questions, according to DriveThruRPG, is most certainly not. And two of their policies in particular demonstrate this. First, there's their product standard guidelines. You know, it is their version of the Comics Code or the Hays Code. And I'll link it in the video description, but the paragraph I want to talk about is this one. Quote, "Neither your work, description, nor any promotional material, including blog posts or press releases, may contain racist, homophobic, discriminatory, or other repugnant views, or overt political agendas or views, or depictions or descriptions of criminal violence against children, or rape or other acts of criminal perversion, or other obscene material without the express written permission of One Bookshelf," end quote. And One Bookshelf is DriveThruRPG's parent company. Notice that nothing in this description is defined in any real way, and how at the end they just give themselves a big ol' out to basically decide anything they want without adhering to any particular standards. And yeah, okay, you might think that it's a good idea to ban racist, homophobic, discriminatory, or other repugnant views, but who judges this? Who judges this? I mean, is it going to be a Seattle liberal? Is Is it going to be a Texas conservative? Is it going to be someone in Britain that voted for Brexit? Or was against Brexit? Is it going to be a Southern preacher? Is it going to be a representative of the Temple of Satan? Maybe it's somebody living in public housing in Sweden. Maybe it's a Filipino policeman. Or just example, just out of the air, maybe it's some expat American living in Finland. I mean, the point is, the people using DriveThru as a distribution platform and as customers are from all sorts of backgrounds, growing up in all sorts of places, and have all sorts of beliefs, completely different cultural contexts in some cases. Whose standard should be the universal standard for a worldwide population of independent creators and consumers? That's not a small question. It really isn't. And when they talk about overt political agendas, especially not in your company's blog posts or press releases, no. Nothing's ever overtly political in those places, and DriveThruRPG's watching you. You need their express written permission to do that. But even so, someone's political views and their reactions to current political events, ripped from today's headlines, that's a standard creative inspiration that makes people want to do something. And if everybody held the same political views, who'd complain? But people have a nasty tendency. A third to 49% of a given population at any given time is going to have a very popular minority view that might be in opposition to the majority view. No, you don't allow any of that? Too contentious? People can't make commentary on real world things in their fictional content? Really? Especially since some people think that all creative work is inherently political anyway. What do you do about that? And more importantly, political attitudes about all of the contentious issues. The majority and general public opinions change over time. What is considered racist or homophobic or etc. now in some quarters is absolutely not the same as what was considered racist or homophobic, etc. 10 years ago in that same population. And it'll be different 10 years from now than it currently is. And DriveThru has stated that they reserve the right to reappraise whether older products comply with current standards. It's going to be, forever retroactively judging. It's just nobody see a problem with this. And the whole without written express permission of one bookshelf. Okay, so they can give out free passes to just anything, as long as they think it's worthwhile, free pass. So I think that's the worst part of all of it, because I can admit, and I know, that I am an extreme outlier in terms of the nature of the content that I produce and what content that I should be allowed, that other people should be allowed to produce without any problem. And okay. Just maybe the standards for the biggest RPG storefront shouldn't be my standards. But they should be, as much as possible, objective standards, where people from all over the world, living in different cultural contexts, they can all look at the rules and know what is allowed and what isn't, and make their commercial publishing decisions knowing that even if they think the rules are total bullshit, even if they think that, they can be confident that if they follow the rules that are given to them, that those rules will be fairly and consistently applied across the platform. And that as long as they follow these rules, the platform itself will protect them and their work against deplatforming efforts. The playing of favorites, or more to the current point, playing disfavorites, and flat out telling us they reserve the right to be biased in their judgments, it's bullshit. But the main reason it's bullshit is that will chill creativity. I mean, what are people supposed to do if they're not sure? Do they need to consult DriveThru? Oh, you know, at the point they're pitching projects internally at a company. Oh, sorry, DriveThru, you're so big and important to us. Are we allowed to work with this concept and get their express written permission? What if you have a question during the writing process? Are you supposed to have a hotline and call them up? Mr. DriveThru, we have a sentence here. We're not sure. We like it, but we're not sure if you will. Can we run it by you and get your permission to put it in our product? That's, you know, that's that's the system. Well, that's the system as written, but it's not even actually like that. That's not even the actual system. Because the problem is that it's not DriveThru playing favorites. It's the most vocal of their customer base, or I'm guessing it's their customer base. It's the most vocal people in the RPG sphere, whether they actually buy anything or not. Maybe not. I don't fucking know. But the company, the reason the company gives themselves so much leeway making these decisions is because the unwritten but actual policy is this. We will get rid of anything that draws too many complaints and creates a headache for us. That's it. That's it. It's like the same corporate trap that corporations grasping for the mainstream always fall into. I mean, let me tell you a story about when I was growing up, or how things were when I was growing up. You know, the what are now called marginalized voices. They didn't have all the opportunities that they have now to be heard. They were actively suppressed because the moral majority of the time kicked and complained when any larger outlet would give these people a voice, hence marginalized. And it was only through independent media, with independent distribution, that they were able to be heard. And the same was true about people with very odd taste in media. People who enjoy weirdo horror or weirdo metal, just from some random example. And you might think, you might think, well, that's not as serious as that other category, except we don't choose our tastes. You know, we don't choose how we're born. We don't choose that I'm going to decide to like this or that. It's the same effects shoving down for the same reasons, even if the end categories are different. I'm getting on a tangent, but fuck. Stick to the script, Jim. You know, and as I got older, things changed. Cable TV necessitated that the definition of what was suitable for mass media would expand. And then the internet just fucking shattered the entire idea of gatekeeping for a while. And some of what came through in all this time, some of it wasn't to my taste, some of it wasn't to yours, but you know what? Some of it was to my taste that hadn't been allowed through in mass media platforms before. It's going to be the same thing for you. Some of the stuff you go, some of the stuff you're like, oh yes, it's so great, you know. That's the way it should be. Not everything is for everyone, But more voices having more opportunities to be heard is always a good thing, because it makes it easier. If you have weird tastes, or if it makes it easier for an audience to find what they need, and it's easier for the creators to find the audience that likes their stuff. It's a win for everybody, but that also means that the stuff you don't like it's also out there. That's the deal. You have your opportunities, you good person, and so do those motherfuckers over there. Even playing field. Should be, I think. But at some point, something happened in, let's call it the cultural sphere. Power wasn't dismantled in this new environment. It was just simply replaced, and the new bosses, they took it upon themselves to decide what was going to be allowed and what wasn't. It's like they looked at the template of the old bosses and thought, that structure is good, but only if it's us instead of them. So, effectively, meet the new boss, only superficially different from the old boss. And I'll just say it plainly. The liberal voices now, trying to quash dissenting views and content they find distasteful, and, well, they're every single bit as bad as the conservative voices that did that same thing back in the day. And current events show that might be boomeranging back around. They are all the same. It's the same bullshit they're doing. And it's not good because you're in charge, and it's not bad because they're in charge. It's having someone in charge in the first place. And people think, they're on the right side of history. And it's like, you're not on the right side of history, you asshole. You're just stuck in a time loop. I mean, congratulations, I guess. You got your turn to be the asshole. You can be very proud of that. But if you're going to keep continuing this cycle, it's going to just be temporary. Because someday there'll be some new asshole to press back down on you, and won't you fucking love that, huh? I mean, independent creators are going to be independent. And by their very nature, they're not going to be following standards set down by corporate HR. And by trying to force them to do so, you are distorting and influencing what gets created in the first place. And fuck off with that bullshit. But it gets worse, because now DriveThruRPG they have a hostile marketing clause in its publisher conduct guidelines. And I'll link the full version of that in the description below as well, but here's the relevant clause. Quote, "Hostile marketing, our policy regarding potentially offensive content, see product standards guidelines, reported by customers, is to deactivate such titles while they are being reviewed. Publishers who deliberately court controversy by making public declarations or accusations of censorship resulting from this process in order to draw attention to their products will be considered to use hostile marketing. Publishers who direct or support, I'm guessing that means retweets, public accusations of impropriety or censorship towards one bookshelf when their controversial titles are rejected or removed will also be considered to use hostile marketing. This behavior will not be tolerated. We have adopted a strict one-warning policy for those who engage in hostile marketing. The first incident will prompt a warning, and after a second incident, their accounts will be removed from our site permanently and immediately. Unquote. I mean, look at this shit. We will decide, and you will shut up, and you will take it. No. No. With this clause, DriveThruRPG is absolutely 100% conducting themselves in an extremely inappropriate manner and is absolutely engaging in censorship. It's not even 100% censorship, it is 300% censorship. Because, first instance, they take down products based on complaints before reviewing them, thus assuming guilt. And, even if the product is cleared of any wrongdoing and put back up on the site, the first week a product is available, especially for small publishers, it is absolutely key to sales. And a takedown of any amount of time will cripple that product's performance no matter what the final outcome of their decision is. Okay? And the second instance, they reserve the right to remove any product for any damn reason in the first place. And third instance, that 300%, then they want to gag the people who are affected by their decisions. I mean, for fuck's sake, all it takes is any old idiot with enough friends to get any book pulled for review. And it'll basically be a popularity contest for what happens to it from there. Are they going to get a bigger headache from putting the book back up, or are they going to get a bigger headache from pulling it back down? That's what it is. And in this system, minority views are going to get quashed. Not minority in terms of demographic category, but minority in terms of how someone thinks, what someone believes, what they think, RPG content should look like. And that's going to happen in an independent, creative community from all over the world. What the fuck? It's like, here's how it is. When those bad people over there, when they try to ban books, it is good and proper to draw all of the attention to those books. Because only those bad people would do something so dastardly as to try to ban a book, and their efforts must be thwarted. But we good people, we don't ban books. No, there's not ever anything we would do. No. We simply remove harmful material. It's not at all the same thing. And the fact that those bad people would then try to disparage such we good people for doing such good things, that only proves how toxic they are. You see how that works? And you don't get to do that. If you say this book cannot be on our service, then yes, you are 100% censoring that book. And then declaring that the people who put their energy and creativity and financial investment into that book can then not use the 100% completely true statement banned by DriveThruRPG in an effort to get some attention to their creation, recoups their investment that has had an important revenue generating stream denied to them? Fuck! You do not get to reject someone's creative work. You do not get to cause them financial, emotional, and creative distress. You do not get to validate internet pile-ons and then tell the people affected to shut up and take it. I mean, you bastard, well, fuck the script, you motherfuckers. So, DriveThru wants to control what RPG material gets made in the first place. They want to dictate what is acceptable or not to imagine, and then on top of that, they want to silence anyone that has something to say about it. And no, I do not accept those terms. And then they want to ban people who speak up about it? Okay, Me first. Come on. Me first. Do me first. My voice is more important than your money. What DriveThru is doing is wrong. Creatively and morally wrong. I will not be silent about it, even for the sake of my livelihood. And the rest of you out there that will remain silent about this to protect your income because even speaking up about it can be dangerous now, how fucked is that? Or if you think that these problems are only these policies, if you think these policies are only problems for the bad people, and you're a good person who only does good things so you're safe, all y'all, enjoy your chains, okay? Enjoy your fucking chains.